Hi there. I'm reviewing Brené Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, and we've got up to chapter 6. So if you haven't listened to any of my reviews so far of the different chapters, go ahead, look back. They're all there for you to look at. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the book if it's something you're interested in. And Brené Brown has written quite a number of books, but this one in particular I wanted to read because it's about how we start showing up for ourselves and understand that we have lost that sense of belonging and that leads to loneliness. And there is a bit of an epidemic of loneliness right now. And in order to overcome that, we need to start recognizing our own beliefs, our own values, what matters to us. And sometimes that means standing out from the crowd. It means going into the wilderness, as it were, which is the point of the book. And as she's been explaining over the chapters, it's ways to do this. How do we navigate life at the moment in order to start connecting and truly belonging, not only to other people, but also to ourselves. So this chapter is chapter 6, and it's called Hold Hands with Strangers. Now, in this chapter, she's exploring the idea that true belonging isn't about fitting in with other people who think like us. It's actually a connection, it's a belief in our shared humanness. And in other chapters earlier, she's talking about the danger of dehumanization, of how that takes us away from that really fundamental connection that underneath everything, all the cultural, skin color, religion, we are humans, human biology, and we are all the same in that way. And we all share the same emotions. So we can share human connection even with strangers. It's our strongest source of courage when life feels isolating or divisive. So it's this that's really key in this chapter. So she argues that we're losing faith. So religions are losing their hold over people. But this deep connection with faith, when we stop believing that we're tied to others by something bigger than ourselves, then we might be in trouble. Then our differences start to be how we describe our groups, our tribes. So we start to retreat into the bunkers, as she calls it. And so you're with what you think are like-minded people, and it might not be something bigger than you, it's like-minded people, but it's almost like an echo chamber if you think about it. So if there's people that talk or have beliefs in the same way as yourself, then all you're hearing is that, and that feels like that must be true. But is it? Just because someone says it again and again, does it make it true? But if we don't ultimately question the truth of something, again, that was in chapter 5 when we were considering some of that, then it is not belonging, true belonging. It's about then you're fitting in. If you're just hearing back what you want to hear, you're not questioning or making your own mind up about something, but going along with it because that feels easier and you don't want to be excluded, then you're not really connecting with other people different from yourself. You're just fitting in with the people that you feel comfortable with. So we settle for shallow safety instead of real connection. And she shares powerful points and examples about how we do connect and that element that connects us that's beyond the thinking. It's an emotional connection. And she says that there's moments of pure joy and also in pain where we do connect in a different way, that we can be amongst a number of strangers and yet have this bond. Music, she describes, and I've certainly had that myself. Have you? Where you've been to a concert and you're all singing and there's an uplift. It's like something within you, that voice that shares together is almost like another entity that grows up beyond your own voice. It's more than the sum. And there's something about that we feel connected in that. So she talks about where we sing, so music festivals, but also sporting events where we are connecting in that way. But also, she really puts it forward for funerals or services, something where we are connecting and relating to each other that we might not know each other, but we knew the person that we're at the funeral for, and something that's very ritualistic, traditional, but that pain that we can feel, and we feel connected to others in sharing that pain with others. Somehow it heals us in a way that we wouldn't get if we just sat at home thinking about that person. So we are more alike in our humanity than we are different in our opinions and our identity. That's the point she's making with that. And she's really wanting us to think about how we try to fit in or how we're trying to belong. And we might feel that we're belonging because we are sharing something with others. But if it's the common ground, the bond of shared identity is hating an enemy or disliking somebody, and it could be disliking a faction, a political party, another cultural identity, that we can feel like we're fitting in or we belong because we don't like that other. But that is a counterfeit belonging. It's not really sustainable for humankind, and it's alienating and creates hate rather than love, which makes us less in that loving kindness and connection and more likely to be in that fear, and fear leads to disconnect and isolation. So, at this heart of this chapter, she's inviting us to resist the fear and division by stepping into the collective experiences with openness and compassion and courage, because it takes courage to reach out to strangers that you don't know. So that's what that part of the book is talking about. We're going to dive in a little bit further. Think why right now I'm looking at this book, and right now why this might be valuable for us. There's a lot of discord, there's a lot of politicians that are using hate of the other side to gather up people together, but it's a dangerous ploy, and it means that we are in our bunkers more and more and not willing or able to speak up because the hate that comes from that seems so huge. But it's important that we recognize the humanity in everyone. And so I would invite you to think about an exercise that I'm going to share with you that might be helpful, might be useful to try out over this week, perhaps. So, the Stranger Connection Challenge, I'll call it. The goal is to notice your automatic responses to people who feel different or unfamiliar, and to have an openness, a deeper empathy, to look beyond that initial automatic thought process that you might have and see if you can find ways to open up and engage with somebody you don't know. So think of someone you've maybe brushed off or judged, somebody in your social circle or work circle. And it's not because you disagree with their ideas, but simply because they didn't feel like they were the same as you. They didn't seem to fit in with how you see the world or how you think. And ask yourself honestly, what assumptions have I made up about this person that I don't really know? And what fears or discomfort might be behind those assumptions? So it's quite uncomfortable, but it's worth pursuing to get to the heart of how we all make these judgments and snap decisions because they feel different to us. I don't understand where they're coming from. I don't get it. Now rewrite that internal story. So instead of just saying, well, I don't get it and we're too different, try and say something like, we're both human beings trying our best with what we've got. So it's like an openness to agree that we have different viewpoints and opinions. We don't see it from the same perspective, but I'm willing to see that they are human and they're doing their best, and we're trying to make sense of the world as humans. So imagine one small real world action that you could take next time that opens you up to a connection in some way. So it could be a smile, a genuine hello, an invitation to lean in and ask more questions. Oh, I don't know what you mean by that, or tell me more. Because that's a really helpful way. If you don't agree with somebody or you don't understand where they're coming from with their opinion, instead of telling them what you think they should know, not instead of being right about something, it's more helpful to ask, where did they come to with that conclusion or opinion? How did they make sense of the information to come to that viewpoint? That's really interesting. And curiosity and openness to listen really helps us to understand the broader picture rather than automatically judging and assuming something. So, if that feels like that floats your boat and you feel like you'd like to try that out, writing it down is really helpful. So, journaling, I always say, really helps us to get some of these thoughts and some of these knotty problems out, and then we can make sense of it a little bit more. So, what did you notice about doing this? What was your reaction to it? And how does it feel now? Do you feel like you've shifted in any way? Is it making it maybe possible for you to use this approach again in the future? So it's breaking down that internal wall that keeps us from opening up and connecting with people we're unsure about, don't know, think they're on a different side to us. So I'm willing to try that myself this week, and I do invite you to do the same if you'd like to. So if you enjoyed listening to me today, you got something out of it, press subscribe, like. My name is Carrie Dubber, and I will be reviewing the last chapter of her book very shortly. And I look forward to seeing you again soon on my channel. And if you have any ideas for anything you'd like me to review, I'd be very open to it. All right, bye for now. Take care.